what's PhunWare and what are you guys up to?
Absolutely. So PhunWare is a 10-year-old tech company based in Austin. Offices in San Diego, Newport Beach, and Miami. Been around for 10 years. We built the first NASCAR app, the first NFL app. We build most of Fox's mobile applications. And then kind of turned into a data company. You know, we see a lot of devices that have our software on them. We're kind of, we consider ourselves a fully integrated cloud platform for mobile. And so everything you need to succeed on mobile, we have something that can add value to you and your customers. And through doing all that, we started seeing an incredible amount of data. So we see about 1 billion active devices touch our platform every single month. And so now the thought process is, how do we use that data, use that kind of scale and reach to help brands engage consumers in a more authentic way? Because quite frankly, between you and me, they're tired of wasting money at Facebook or Google and not really understanding what they're getting and how they reach the right people at the right time with the right message. And that's what we want to do, and we want to enable all of that with blockchain. So it's been fun.
So how are you guys involved with security tokens, if at all yet?
Yeah, so we are involved. Our role primarily is as a lead underwriter, as kind of like if you think of an IPO, right? And this is an STO, right?
Yep.
And so we're the lead underwriter, so we'll go in and we'll analyze the companies, the management team, the financials, the valuation, and we'll go through the whole package. We'll put together a whole diligence, report on those companies, and we'll provide that information then to verify it, provide it to investors, and so it gives them kind of, we're a FINRA licensed firm, so it gives them kind of the good housekeeping seal of approval, right? To say that somebody actually went through this. It's not just representation by, a CEO of a company, and so there's a third party, review of it. So that's what we primarily do, and then we distribute those securities. And we're working on a couple tokenized products right now. One is a fund. It's called City Block Capital.
We know City Block. Rob Nance,
Rob Nance, City Block Capital.
Show.
And yeah, exactly. So we're raising money for him, and we we got a listing agreement with them for on Shares Post. So secondary trading is potential, right? I mean, as this works.
Right.
And then we just launched a new one. That's for a company called Metals House, and it's a $150 million capital raise for it's ostensibly inventory finance for a gold trading firm.
Huh.
So you have invested, and they use that money to buy gold.
Right.
And then every year that increases in terms of the amount of gold that's backing the token.
Right.
And by year 5, it's 100% backed, and they pay a dividend. So they pay a quarterly dividend, annual dividend of 8%, 2% per quarter.
So, okay, U.S. capital, the next 6 to 9 months, the remainder of 2019, what can we expect from you guys?
I would expect that we'll have more offerings, right, coming to market. We should be announcing some closings on these deals, right, and raising a couple $100 million hopefully for our different issuers. And I think and then those will then be positioned to start trading. Obviously, we're doing. Most of the deals we're doing are Reg D, Reg S, so internationally they could start trading after 40 days. So as long as they're not coming back here. So I would expect that we have relationships with a lot of the different trading platforms, and the tokens that we originate and that we distribute will then start trading in the secondary market.
Given that you're along the bankers, I know you're in another fairly new endeavor. You want to tell us what that is?
Yes, I've been working on a project called Onera. It started actually here in this conference 6 months ago, and I presented the concept as an idea, and it evolved into a project, a foundation that we're now starting. And the idea behind Onera is to build a new blockchain, new network blockchain for security token, designed for institutional investors, for bankers, and for people like that, so we can actually reach the scale.
How so? What makes it particular to bankers? What does it consist of?
So it's what I would call institutional grade. So Ethereum is not institutional grade. No. Bankers will not use that. So what we're using, we're building it on top of something called Hyperledger Fabric.
Yep.
But Hyperledger Fabric is usually used for private network, but we're actually turning it around and making it into a public network.
Huh. Okay.
Yes. It includes everything you need for doing security token out of the box. So the privacy is there, regulation compliance is there, everything is already there. So as building blocks of security, but it has one other critical element. And that critical element is that the tokens on Onera carry their value with them.
Huh.
Unlike other security tokens.
So does that mean no wallet? Is that what that means?
No. What it means is security tokens today are only a trading element, but the value that they represent is outside the blockchain.
Oh, I
It's
see, yes.
completely off-chain.
Sure.
So you can be trading tokens from one hand to another, okay, but the value is on somebody's website, which can be changed. It's not immutable. Nobody checks it, and so on. So there's a problem here where practically every issuer can say whatever they want. There's not enough scrutiny, and it's very, very hard to find information.
BlockQuake, we're rolling out a centralized digital asset exchange on a global scale. So we're opening up end of May, just very globally. We're going to have 7 fiats onboarded immediately. We're using qualified custodians. We have a transfer agent. We were created just out of our own frustrations with the market, particularly in 2017, year-end, where just platforms are inefficient, crashing, or they just didn't have a lot of the features that I'm used to. Myself and my team, we're from traditional financial services. We've traded stocks, options, Forex. I'm like, we're accustomed to complex order types, a better speed and efficiency, and just a lot of that was lacking. So that's how BlockQuake was born.
Fantastic. So I understand you have something specific involved. We are the Security Token Academy.
Yeah.
You have some perhaps news to share about security tokens and BlockQuake.
Yes, so we are actually pursuing our broker-dealer ATS currently.
Very exciting.
And we believe we'll have it in about 6 months. We are, our attorneys are the same attorneys that a number of the other platforms that have their ATS used. So they've got the process down at this point, right? So we're pretty confident. And we're also launching our own loyalty token, probably within the next week or two.
Oh, wow.
We're doing a Reg S first overseas.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Starting with an S. Okay.
Yeah. There's been significant demand overseas for U.S. projects.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that we have our securities laws that are pretty tight.
Right.
There's just a ton of interest. We were in South Korea last week, and they told us they're looking at our project because, they find us U.S. projects to be more transparent, more regulatory friendly. So there is a huge demand for security token projects globally.
You guys also have some interesting vehicles that you're toying with. Let's say.
Sure. Yeah. So we're exploring a number of things. So we've launched an investment index that looks after the large cap to try to give clients a feel for what a beta exposure would look like. We'll be launching a series of different indices, which hopefully will give the client a better feel for looking at cryptocurrencies. I think a lot of people look at just Bitcoin. Where is the market going? Just Bitcoin. That may not be necessarily the right exposure. We're going to try to find different angles to be able to show clients what the crypto market is going. We're also looking at derivatives. That's a new market that's up and coming. We're seeing people trade derivatives in Bitcoin right now. We're starting to see nascent marks in ETH derivatives, and of course you can call up an OTC counter. They'll make you a derivative in whatever fashion you want on whatever token you want. But overall, I think we're starting to see that. And the third series, which I think we had discussed yesterday, that was
this is my favorite.
Yeah, we're looking at real assets that we can tokenize that would make a lot of sense. It would take advantage of the tokenization process. I believe that there are a lot of cash flows and yield curves that could be liberated using the token format so more people can have access to it. We can talk about things which are not boring, things that I do all the time, which is real estate and so forth. And we can talk about things that are interesting, which we talked about yesterday. We're looking at whiskey, potentially doing something with whiskey in terms of tokenization and so forth. I've spoken to people about brand new whiskey, the aging process. The interesting way of talking about it is we would hold barrels, and the boring way to say it is we're basically providing balance sheet to distillers for them to make their business more efficient. The other direction is more on the collectible side, where I've talked to friends who are going to Scotland to buy 20, 30-year-old barrels and aging it for another 5, 10 years to try to pick up the gain in value from that perspective. And that smaller volume.
Like Series D barrel.
That's right, like much, much later in that barrel. So, obviously the starting point is high, but the theory is that the ending point is even higher as long as nobody goes and drinks it before then, and it doesn't all evaporate away. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, in those kinds of instruments, would those fall? Those would be security tokens or not?
So we're envisioning all of these things basically in fund format, and we would issue securities tokens and
In
what
the
we call
fund.
digital funds around these things. So they're token representations of funds, and the funds would have these different types of investments. And we haven't launched any of these yet, so we could talk about it to our liking.
Well, I love that part.
And the concept is that these tokens would then be tradable on security token exchanges. We have a very close relationship with the top 3 in the U.S. and many others overseas also. So we would like to list them, have them be available. Just back to the whiskey example, we can have the 2018 vintage, we have the 2019 vintage. You can trade fractional barrels with other people thinking certain barrels are better than others, and have all that debate. And I'm not a big drinker, so I'll leave it to the experts to trade those tokens.
What's around the bend for Rivver? Where are you focused for the remainder of 2019?
So 2019 for us is working with our design partners. We have about 6 funds that we work with right now. We're looking to cap it at about 10. Work with them, build a product around them, really understand their needs and how we can better our offering, with a client-obsessed approach. Aside from that, we are also product-obsessed right now. So we are really, our R&D team is working very hard to really, build the best product for our clients and to have it on the market with our final product as soon as possible. Right now we are in beta, and we hope to have our final product ready for launch in the next quarter.
What's on your 2019, let's say, roadmap for Archax?
So we've submitted our application to the FCA to be an MTF. So there's no doubt they'll put us under a great deal of scrutiny over the next 6 to 12 months. We hope to get our permission, obviously in 6, but it may take longer. This is. The FCA recently released a consultation paper where they laid out that they are working out their position on cryptocurrencies, utility tokens they don't regulate, but securities they do, and security venues they will regulate like security venues. So from our point of view, it's we're straight up the fairway for them. This is a security venue trading securities.
Yeah.
So hopefully it will be quite straightforward, but obviously because we're dealing with a slightly different asset class, there will be a lot of conversations. In the next 6-7 months as well, we're working out our partnerships with companies like Securitized and Tokeny. DLA and Tokeny in the UK have just launched something called a Digital Token Alliance, which is useful for moving the space forward. So we'll be working with those guys, seeing how the whole ecosystem is going to interoperate, and then hopefully towards the end of this year we'll be listing, and we hope to come to market with 10 to 20 tokens on our exchange day 1.
So 2019, NovaBlock, what's going to happen? What do we got from you?
Sure. So we are actually in the process of launching our second fund.
Oh, exciting.
Which is a larger ecosystem fund. We're going to continue to invest in the space and building out the ecosystem for digital securities. So definitely stay tuned, as we're going to have quite a few interesting announcements in our pipeline.
OpenFinance, you're so new and yet so important to the space already. What can we expect from you in the coming 6 months or 9 months?
The pipeline of listings looks really strong.
Great.
As we continue to partner with the issuance platforms like Securitize and Polymath and Harbor, who are doing a lot of great work in the space as well. So we continue to add to that pipeline, and we'll be adding more and more listings to the platform throughout the balance of the year. And then, like I said, the next progression for us is to really get much more institutional. And we start talking to larger issuers, more in traditional offerings, which we think gets really attractive to investors now that historically might not have wanted to invest in one of these types of offerings because of the lack of liquidity. Now we're bringing this option that is much more attractive for the investor.